In this panel discussion with students from Utah Valley University, what were some of the concerns that they raised or questions they asked you?
Their concerns, of course, were mainly focused on security in Afghanistan, why security has declined over the past 2 or 3 years. The questions also were about where we are in the state building process as far as standing up state institutions in Kabul and as well as on the local level throughout Afghanistan. Questions about social services in Afghanistan, such as provision of education and basic health care across Afghanistan, and as well as also questions about our relations in the region and as well as with the United States. And of course, I discussed those questions about our achievements over the past 7 years in terms of establishing a permanent government that is broad-based, that is inclusive, the parliament, the executive, the judicial, and as well as also our achievements in providing education to some 6 million children, some 35% of which are girls that are going to school across Afghanistan. And we also talked about provision of basic health care in Afghanistan, of course, compared to where the country was 7 years ago. And Afghanistan people did not have access to health care under the Taliban, or women and girls were restricted to their homes. They were banned from going to school and working in the government or in the private sector. So we talked about all those achievements, but we also talked about challenges such as insecurity in the south and east of Afghanistan, and the reason behind insecurity, why insecurity has been on the rise in Afghanistan, and explained that part of the problem is that the Taliban and Al Qaeda have safe sanctuaries across the border into neighboring Pakistan, where they get trained, financially supported, and ideologically indoctrinated. And of course, and those Taliban have been able over the past 7 years to regroup and launched cross-border terrorist attacks. And government, state institutions in Afghanistan have remained weak because they've lacked resources from the international community to build their capacity and deliver basic public goods, basic law and order and security in parts of Afghanistan. Our number one challenge right now is insecurity.
What is the strength of the Taliban in Afghanistan currently, and what do you feel is the future of the Taliban?
Well, the Taliban are not as strong. The Taliban are not as strong by any means. They don't have a cause. They don't have popular support, and their future is uncertain. Of course, it is not a unified, monolithic movement or group, but one that is divided, one that has, of course, attracted a lot of jobless young men who, if we gave opportunities and both social and economic, in terms of creating jobs for them, in terms of social opportunities such as going to school and so forth, that we could bring many of their fighters on our side and integrate them into civilian life. So to the extent that they have gained some passive support from the Afghan people in the south and east is because government institutions remain weak or absent in those areas.
President-elect Barack Obama has said that the focus of the U.S. military should be in Afghanistan instead of Iran. What are your concerns about his new administration?
There are no concerns, of course, but the good news is that the president-elect is committed to refocusing on Afghanistan's rebuilding priorities, and those priorities, of course, will help Afghanistan become more secure and prosperous on the long run, and as well as also serve U.S. national security interests. So we hope that that the government here and us in Afghanistan, and we look forward, of course, from our perspective, from our side, to working with the new administration in the U.S. to achieving our shared objectives and basically consolidating our achievements of the past 7 years. As I pointed out, we have achieved a great deal over the past 7 years, but our achievements need to be consolidated, and areas where we are weak, we need to be strengthened, especially state institutions, so we can deliver basic services to people across Afghanistan and secure the nation's future.